That was the consensus. Not just one analyst, not just one fan base, the entire NFL, 4 teams in 5 years, released by the Panthers, claimed off waivers by the Rams, a journeyman, a cautionary tale, a first overall pick who couldn't live up to the moment. Except, none of that turned out to be true. In 2023, Baker Mayfield signed a $4 million prove-it deal with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team everyone assumed was entering a full rebuild after Tom Brady retired. And then he threw for over 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, won the division, beat the Eagles in the playoffs, and earned a $100 million contract extension. In 2024, he was arguably the best quarterback in football, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, a career-high completion percentage of 71.4, MVP candidate, top 5 in every major passing category. So when people ask, did the NFL give up on Baker Mayfield too early? The answer is yes, completely. And this is how it happened. Baker Reagan Mayfield was born on April 14, 1995 in Austin, Texas. From the jump, he was different. Cocky in the best way possible. Relentless. The kind of quarterback who played like every snap was the last one he'd ever get. He wasn't heavily recruited coming out of high school. Lake Travis High School in Austin, Texas produced him, and the big programs mostly passed. He walked on at Texas Tech, no scholarship, no promise of playing time. He earned everything through sheer performance, won the starting job, and lit up the Big 12, before transferring to Oklahoma, where he became one of the most decorated college quarterbacks in the history of the sport. At Oklahoma, he was electric. 3 Big 12 championships, the 2017 Heisman Trophy, the most prestigious individual award in college football. He finished his Sooners career with 131 touchdowns and a completion rate north of 67%. He was the consensus best quarterback in the 2018 draft class. The Cleveland Browns, coming off an 0-16 season, desperate for a franchise savior, selected him first overall. And when he ran on the field for his first NFL regular season start, he planted his flag at midfield at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, literally. He planted a flag on the Steelers logo. The football world either loved it or hated it. That was always going to be Baker Mayfield. His rookie season, 3,725 yards, 27 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, but then record for touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback. The city of Cleveland was electric. For the first time in decades, there was genuine hope. But Cleveland being Cleveland, it was never going to be that simple. The 2019 season was supposed to be Cleveland's year. They had Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and one of the most talented rosters the Browns had assembled in a generation. They went 6-10, and the cracks between Mayfield and Beckham were visible to everyone. On the field, Mayfield was noticeably hesitant to target OBJ in critical moments. Behind the scenes, the relationship had quietly deteriorated. When Beckham's father posted a video on social media that appeared to show Mayfield ignoring open receivers, the locker room fractured publicly. 2020 was Mayfield's best Cleveland season. He threw 26 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. The Browns went 11-5. They made the playoffs, their first appearance since 2002, and beat the Pittsburgh Steelers 48-37 in the wild card round, their first playoff win in 26 years. Mayfield was running off that same Heinz Field with a grin that stretched across his entire face. It looked like the corner had been turned. It hadn't. 2021, Mayfield played hurt. A torn labrum in his left non-throwing shoulder suffered in week 2. He played through it all season with a partially torn labrum, and his numbers showed it. 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, inconsistency that frustrated the entire fan base. But what Cleveland did next wasn't just a football decision, it was a statement. The Browns traded for Deshaun Watson while Mayfield was still on the team, a quarterback facing 22 civil lawsuits alleging sexual misconduct, and they gave him a fully guaranteed $230 million contract, the largest fully guaranteed deal in NFL history at that time. A contract that has since become one of the worst in sports history. Mayfield found out through the media. He said publicly, "I'm still confused." He asked to be traded. He was eventually traded to the Panthers in exchange for a conditional draft pick after the Browns paid down most of his salary. A first overall pick, swapped for a 5th rounder. Cleveland didn't just move on from Baker Mayfield, they humiliated him on the way out the door. What happened next is a part of the story that belongs in a movie. Carolina was a disaster from day one. Mayfield went 1-5 as a starter before he was released, benched mid-season after head coach Matt Rule was fired in Week 6, and star running back Christian McCaffrey was traded days later. He was playing on a sinking ship with no life jacket. On December 6, 2022, the Los Angeles Rams claimed Baker Mayfield off waivers. He arrived in Los Angeles on a Wednesday. 2 days later, Thursday Night Football against the Las Vegas Raiders, his new teammates barely knew his name. He had 48 hours of practice reps in the Rams system. He walked onto that field and directed a 98-yard game-winning touchdown drive in the final minutes. Sean McVay said, "It was life-changing. I could physically feel it. The biggest weight lifted off my shoulders I had ever felt." Those were Mayfield's words about that night, not McVay's. Mayfield's, a player who had been waived, unclaimed by 24 teams initially, arriving in a new city with 2 days of practice and delivering one of the most memorable drives of the NFL season. But even the Rams didn't offer him a future. 5 games, that was it. In March 2023, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed Baker Mayfield to a 1-year, $8.5 million deal, a prove-it contract to replace Tom Brady. The expectation from most analysts, a bridge year while Tampa Bay figured out their long-term QB situation. Kyle Trask was waiting in the wings. Nobody expected much. Mayfield threw for 4,044 yards and 28 touchdowns that season, leading the Buccaneers to an NFC South title. They beat the Eagles in the wildcard round. Mayfield finished 3rd in Comeback Player of the Year voting. And then Tampa Bay did something Cleveland never did. They paid him a 3-year, $100 million contract with $50 million guaranteed. And in 2024, he didn't just reward that faith, he exceeded it completely. 4,500 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, a completion percentage of 71.4%, a passer rating of 106.8. He ranked 2nd in the entire NFL in touchdown passes and 3rd in passing yards. He was a legitimate MVP candidate. The same quarterback Cleveland swapped for a conditional 5th-round pick was now one of the 3 best passers in the entire league. The NFL hadn't just given up on Baker Mayfield too early. The NFL had been completely, embarrassingly wrong. And now, here's where the story gets complicated again, because nothing with Baker Mayfield is ever simple. In 2025, Mayfield played through biceps, shoulder, knee, and oblique injuries across all 17 games. The numbers reflected it: 3,693 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Still functional, still a starter, but a significant step back from his MVP caliber 2024 campaign. The Buccaneers lost 7 of their last 8 games and missed the playoffs entirely. Their 5-year postseason streak, built in part on Mayfield's arm, was over. Now, heading into 2026, he enters the final year of his contract, and the contract talks have not gone well. Mayfield told reporters the negotiations are not anywhere close and set training camp as his firm deadline to get a deal done, after which he refuses to negotiate until the season ends. He also lost his top receiver. Mike Evans, his most reliable target across 3 seasons, signed with the San Francisco 49ers. A new offensive coordinator is coming in. The roster around him has thinned. If he plays close to his 2024 level, a new contract could surpass $50 million per year, placing him among the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. If he doesn't, Tampa Bay may franchise tag him or walk away entirely. Baker Mayfield, at 31 years old, is back in prove-it territory. The same territory he's been in his entire career. And if history has taught us anything about this quarterback, that's exactly where he plays his best football. The question this story forces you to reckon with is uncomfortable. Cleveland didn't just trade Baker Mayfield. They traded him for a player facing dozens of misconduct allegations and handed that player the most guaranteed money in NFL history. Money they are still paying for a quarterback who has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns since joining the team. Meanwhile, the player they discarded, the one they called a bust, the one they let walk for a 5th-round pick, went to Tampa and became one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Did the NFL give up on Baker Mayfield too early? Cleveland handed him 4 offensive coordinators in 4 years, a broken locker room, a torn labrum he played through all season, and then replaced him with chaos. The answer isn't complicated. They didn't give up on him too early. They never gave him a real chance at all. Baker Mayfield's story is one of the most remarkable in modern NFL history. Walked on at Texas Tech, won the Heisman, went first overall, got traded for a 5th-round pick, claimed off waivers, and became a $100 million quarterback. Now he enters 2026 on the last year of his deal without his best receiver, with a new offensive coordinator and contract talks going nowhere. The NFL is watching to see if 2024 was the real Baker Mayfield, or if 2025 was. He's been here before, written off, counted out, underestimated, and every single time he's answered. Drop a comment. Do you think Baker Mayfield gets a new contract extension in Tampa, or does he walk again and prove another team wrong? Subscribe if you're new. New NFL documentary every week right here.